Founded in 1912, Universal Pictures is the oldest American movie studio still operating. And over the many decades, filmmakers have gotten very creative with that spinning globe. Join me for this trip into the Logoverse as I explore the fascinating details behind every customized variation of that iconic emblem. For the sake of simplicity, I'm limiting this list to English-speaking films that received a theatrical release. I'm also only including films where the logo design itself changes in some distinctive way. So my apologies to the Pitch Perfect movies, which keep the logo the same, but cleverly provide a cappella versions of the universal fanfare. We have, 82 years to cover, so we better get started. Arabian Nights, 1942. This lush adventure film is the earliest known example of a movie-specific twist on the Universal logo. Here we're shown a static reproduction of the classic Art Deco globe, first introduced in 1937. This still image trades realism for spectacle. The globe is not a true Earth, but a stylized red orb against a teal-blue background. The universal text is rendered in a bold pinkish-red lettering that dramatically sweeps across the orb, a striking splash of art that sets the tone for the vibrant Technicolor epic. Canyon Passage, 1946. Another Technicolor film, this time a Western. The still card shows the globe colored in a subtle gold, with a grid of crisscrossing lines over it, representing latitude and longitude, just like an old-school world map. It came from outer space, 1953. Universal got in on the science fiction craze with this classic from director Jack Arnold. Like the movie itself, the logo is done in 3D. Notice the stars shining in the background, a nice touch hinting at the eerie adventure to follow. Unlike the previous two examples, this variant is a live-action model. The Birds, 1963. Alfred Hitchcock strips things down. No spinning motion, no glowing stars. Instead, we're shown a plain white background with a static, ominously gray Earth, stark and unsettling, just like the movie itself. Marnie, 1964. Hitch wasn't done putting his stamp on the Universal logo just yet. We're greeted with a flat, storybook-style title card. A minimalist red outline of the Earth is centered against a paper background, encircled by a decorative border of swirling shapes. This image seamlessly leads us into the film's opening credit sequence, which mimics the turning pages of a storybook. Torn Curtain, 1966. More Alfred Hitchcock. This time, the logo doesn't appear until the film's closing frame, a somber, gray-toned globe. The design itself is actually a copy of the emblem first used on the Birds. Skullduggery, 1970. This one starts off like a normal Universal logo from that era, but you'll notice the globe is actually spinning in the opposite direction compared to the normal emblem, left instead of right. The whole thing morphs into a rotating Franklin globe, zooming in on New Guinea. This sets the stage for a bizarre jungle adventure involving Burt Reynolds and a tribe of ape-like humanoids. The Sting, 1973. This classic opens with a shot of the beautiful 1937 logo, sepia-toned, reinforcing the film's 1930s setting. The Hindenburg, 1975. Once again, the 1937 logo appears. The emblem then transitions to 1930s era newsreel footage. The Bingo Long Traveling All-Stars and Motor Kings, 1976. A baseball comedy set in the 1930s starring Billy D. Williams, James Earl Jones, and Richard Pryor. It also uses the 1937 logo to ground the film in a historical context, transitioning to newsreel footage of the Nazis steamrolling their way through Europe. The last remake of Beau Guest, 1977. We open on the 1937 globe, but the camera zooms out to reveal it's nothing more than a cheap model inside a room. Then a door opens. The one and only Marty Feldman walks over. He proceeds to gleefully tear off the emblem letters. He finally stops the spinning globe, crushes it in his hands like a balloon, and points down at Africa, kicking off the opening credits. A hilarious and unexpected sight gag. Marty Feldman not only starred in the movie, but also wrote and directed The Deer Hunter, 1978. A far more subdued approach than the previous film. The logo here is sepia tinted, matching the war epic's solemn tone. The Brink's Job, 1978. Yet again, the 1937 logo is used to reinforce this crime comedy's vintage setting before the standard emblem appears. We hear jazzy music and the sound of characters placing bets during the 1937 logo, while the standard emblem plays out silently. Directed by William Friedkin, the film takes place in 1950. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, 1978. We go even further back in time to the 1927 logo, complete with the iconic biplane flying across the screen, except this time, colorful animated bullets explode around the fleeing aircraft. The Nude Bomb, 1980. A film revival of the comedy TV series Get Smart from the 1960s, this one starts off by telling us it's time to get smart, followed by one of the iconic catchphrases from the show, "Would you believe?" We then transition to the Universal logo, which fades to become a white circle on a green background, leading us into the film's opening sequence. Smokey and the Bandit 2, 1980. Another cartoon twist. The signature vehicle, a black Pontiac Trans Am, swerves around the globe, chased by a police car, which promptly crashes behind the globe, causing the screen to shake. Xanadu, 1980. One of Universal's most elaborate logo variations. It opens with a revamped color version of the 1927 emblem, with zooming stars in the background and a bright yellow biplane. But the logo doesn't fade out. Instead, it stays on screen as different flying vehicles appear. After the biplane, we see a 4-engine airliner, followed by a sleek Concorde, and finally, a flying saucer. Each new vehicle is matched by a distinct shift in musical style. After the flying saucer, a meteor-like streak of light shoots around the globe twice. On the third pass, it transforms into the film's title card. We then move on to the standard Universal emblem. Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid, 1982. For this parody of the film noir genre, the 1937 logo is once again used, now with a redone fanfare. E.T. the Extraterrestrial, 1982. Like the emblem in Skullduggery, the Earth is rotating left instead of right. DC Cab, 1983. The globe fades to leave just the starry night sky. Jaws 3D, 1983. The third dimension strikes with this redesign. Here, the globe and company name rush toward the screen. The universal text is metallic gold. Sharp-eyed viewers will notice the U, A, and R glint for extra effect, while the usual Van Allen radiation belts are absent. The same 3D enhanced logo popped up again in the low-budget space western Metal Storm the very same year. The Pirates of Penzance, 1983. We open inside a Grand Theater. When the curtain finally lifts, a sepia-toned version of the 1927 logo plays out, presented in widescreen. If you look closely, the clouds on the left and right have been spliced together to fill out the aspect ratio, creating a slightly odd patchwork effect. Psycho 2, 1983. The logo appears in black and white, a nice nod to Hitchcock's original 1960 masterpiece. Rumblefish, 1983. Francis Ford Coppola also takes the black and white route, appropriate since his experimental teen drama was also filmed in black and white. Cry Freedom, 1987. A subtle twist. The standard logo freezes, then pulls away from the camera, surrounded by darkness. The Burbs, 1989. One of my absolute favorites. Industrial Light and Magic reanimated the Universal logo in CGI. After the text and radiation belts fade away, the camera zooms in on Earth. A beautiful shot that brings us all the way down to a single neighborhood, Mayfield Place. The entire film is set within this suburban cul-de-sac, located in the fictional town of Hinkley Hills. Although the movie never says, based on where the camera zooms in after the logo, it suggests that Hinkley Hills is located somewhere in Iowa. Crybaby, 1990. Another throwback to the 1927 biplane logo. Cape Fear, 1991. Scorsese's remake opens with the normal logo, which then turns blue and starts to ripple as if submerged underwater, foreshadowing the movie's tense climax. The Flintstones, 1994. Universal takes a prehistoric detour with this logo seen at the drive-in theater the Flintstones visit. Rebranded as Universe Shell, the emblem now features text carved out of dinosaur bone. Another nice touch, all the landmasses have been replaced by the supercontinent Pangaea. Street Fighter, 1994. After the text and byline vanish, the globe transforms into the movie's logo. The wings reminiscent of the menacing Shadaloo symbol as worn by the villainous General Bison, played by Raul Julia in his last film role. Only the US release carried this opening. International prints swapped it out for an emblem from Columbia TriStar, which would have then faded to the globe. Not nearly as impactful as the Universal version. The Paper, 1994. The globe transforms into an electric time clock in a New York City park. The time reads 12:04 a.m., a perfect way to kick off a fast-paced newspaper drama unfolding over the next 24 hours. Radioland Murders, 1994. The globe and text fade, leaving the incredible painted background. We then pan down from the starry sky to reveal an antenna atop a huge Art Deco radio tower. A great shot in an otherwise forgotten film. Casper, 1995. The globe transforms into a vividly detailed moon. We then pan down to the gate outside the spooky Whipstaff Manor, setting the stage for this otherworldly childhood favorite. Waterworld, 1995. We slowly zoom in on the globe, watching as the polar ice caps melt. The oceans rise and consume the land masses, leaving behind endless blue. A voiceover introduces us to the film's apocalyptic premise. Although simple with today's technology, this shot was extremely complicated to pull off back in 1995. CGI was still so new that when the title designers said they would need to use a 3D globe, Universal executives actually ordered a massive physical globe, not realizing the designers meant a computer model. The effort and expense were worth it. This remains one of the most well-remembered openings to a Universal movie. Twister, 1996. Universal and Warner Brothers both produced this disaster film, so for international releases, the Universal logo emerges from a swirling mass of storm clouds, but it's the Warner Brothers shield that appears in the US release. Basketball, 1998. The globe remains on screen as the opening credits emerge around it. When the title of the movie appears, the globe transforms into a hybrid ball that's used in the fictional sport, blending baseball and basketball. The Mummy, 1999. The globe transforms into the relentless sun as we're transported back to the glory days of ancient Egypt. A bit of trivia. In the screenplay, writer-director Stephen Sommers originally envisioned the universal globe coming to a stop over Africa. We would have then transitioned to a papyrus map of ancient Egypt. I think the film version works much better. The Flintstones in Viva Rock Vegas, 2000. Like the original movie, Universe Shell is used, starting us off on a Bedrock-style pun. A flying saucer then shoots out from behind the Earth, soon introducing us to the Great Gazoo, played by Alan Cummings. The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle, 2000. The logo transforms into a beautiful ceiling mural, showing a painted Earth against a massive 16-pointed star. Gladiator, 2000. Another touch of antiquity. The Universal logo is sepia tinted, setting the stage for a journey back to ancient Rome. The Mummy Returns, 2001. This time, the globe erupts into a shimmer of gold light and transforms into a scorpion symbol engraved on an ornate ceremonial staff. Josie and the Pussycats, 2001. Another co-production, this time between Universal and MGM. In the American release, the MGM lion disappears. Inside the ribbon, we see a shrieking girl with a tongue stud. But for the international release, the Universal globe actually changes into the girl's tongue stud. Jurassic Park 3, 2001. The emblem ripples like the surface of a puddle, a direct callback to the first film when the stomp of the approaching T-Rex famously made the water tremble. Here, the ripple lets us know the dinosaurs are back and still making the earth shake. My Little Eye, 2002. An obscure horror film about 5 young people participating in a sort of Big Brother-style reality webcast. Appropriately enough, the camera has a grainy webcam effect. A young Bradley Cooper appears in one of his first film roles. Too Fast, Too Furious, 2003. A very cool transformation. The globe and text become chrome silver. They then shift up and down several times. Notice that the universal text is reflected across the globe. A series of hydraulic sounds kick in, and the logo transforms into a chrome vehicle rim. The Cat in the Hat, 2003. Even the worst films can have amazing intros. Here we get a whimsical Seussian twist. The logo adopts the hand-drawn style of the Cat in the Hat book, with a vivid red and white globe surrounded by a shimmering glow. Universal is written in Dr. Seuss-style lettering. The globe then seamlessly transforms into the famous red and white ball from the story. Peter Pan, 2003. The globe and text fade out, leaving the starry background. Van Helsing, 2004. Another great intro from a not-so-great movie. As the Universal logo plays, the image slowly drains of color, turning black and white to evoke the look of classic monster movies. Suddenly, the globe bursts into flames, the fire spreading fast and consuming the Universal lettering. We then transition to the torch of an angry villager. Friday Night Lights, 2004. A warmer tint gives the logo a more nostalgic effect. Cinderella Man, 2004. Much like the previous logo, this emblem has a subtle gold tint. Land of the Dead, 2005. The vintage 1927 logo returns in this George A. Romero post-apocalyptic zombie film, but the clouds darken menacingly, foreshadowing the undead mayhem to come. Serenity, 2005. A movie continuation of the short-lived sci-fi TV series Firefly. Here, the distinctive halo around the Earth disappears and the word Universal zooms past us as the globe turns into a real Earth, with noticeable white explosions dotting the ravaged atmosphere. Doom, 2005. An adaptation of the classic first-person shooter game It may have failed to satisfy fans, but the movie at least has a cool custom logo. An opening voiceover introduces us to the film's premise of a mysterious portal leading to a city on Mars. After the voiceover, the Universal logo plays out, appearing a good 30 seconds into the movie, with Earth swapped out for none other than the Red Planet. Miami Vice, 2006. The whole logo is tinted in a sleek royal blue, giving us those stylized vibes right out of the gate. Curious George, 2006. The emblem is distinctly brighter than normal for this animated adventure film. Universal hadn't released many animated films theatrically, the last one before Curious George being Balto back in 1995. The Kingdom, 2007. The logo begins normally, but quickly loses much of its color, leaving a more muted version to set up this gritty action film. Dead Silence, 2007. Once again, the 1927 logo proves that it can pack a scary punch. This version is similar to the one seen in Land of the Dead, but with added film scratches that create a creepy, degraded look. Death Race, 2008. This interesting twist has the logo unfolding in reverse. Rather than pulling back at the beginning, the camera pushes in and the Universal text flies out of view behind the Earth. Color fades to black and white as we transition to a car piston. Changeling, 2008. The 1937 logo is used, quietly evoking the historical era of the film. Leatherheads, 2008. This period comedy also uses the 1937 logo, but this time it's bathed in a beautiful golden hue, adding a touch of old-school movie glamour. The Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, 2008. The Mummy franchise continues the custom intros with this third film. We zoom in over China, where Chinese text and map-like boundaries have been added to the landmass. Couples Retreat, 2009. The logo starts out normally, but the colors fade to a crisp black and white. Public Enemies, 2009. A noir makeover. The contrast here is subtly darker, perfect for a Depression-era gangster epic. Bruno, 2009. Two dots pop up over the U in Universal, known in German as an umlaut, matching the one seen over the U in Bruno's name. Land of the Lost, 2009. The 1963 logo opens the film, lifted directly from Clint Eastwood's Play Misty for Me. Drag Me to Hell, 2009. This was a good year for the 63 logo, as it opens this Sam Raimi horror film. Inglourious Bastards, 2009, and once again the 63 logo appears. The Wolfman, 2010. In the theatrical cut, the logo turns a subtle gray, but we get a far more elaborate twist in the director's cut, where we see a stunning recreation of the 1937 logo, with a silvery moon-like globe and a dark turquoise background. Notice that this updated version adds continents to the globe, a terrific nod to the original Wolfman from 1941. Repo Men, 2010. Two flickers of static briefly distort the logo. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, 2010. The logo gets a vintage video game makeover, with the globe shooting into frame from the left and the Universal text entering from the right. Rendered in classic 8-bit graphics, they both meet in the center as a retro video game version of the fanfare plays. Catfish, 2010. The groundbreaking documentary gives us the perfect twist for the age of computers and social media. The Universal globe becomes a Google Earth interface playing on a Mac. We zoom out from Universal Studios Hollywood until we see a virtual Earth. A cursor adjusts the globe, making it spin as the Universal name slides into place. The whole thing minimizes and a play icon is then clicked. Hop, 2011. This Easter-themed family film puts a seasonal spin on the universal globe by changing its shape to an egg. Hop remains the only live-action film from Illumination. The Thing, 2011. The 1990 logo is reused, even though Carpenter's film came out in 1982, a mismatched homage, but the 1990 logo is always a welcome sight. Ted, 2012. We zoom through the universal text and descend into Boston, the setting for Seth MacFarlane's raunchy buddy comedy, The Man with the Iron Fists, 2012. After the logo finishes, smoke and embers rise up from the bottom with a rippling effect before burning firewood appears, a blazing intro for this kung fu fever dream. Oblivion, 2013. As the logo starts, we catch a glimpse of a tetrahedral-shaped alien space station in orbit, lifted straight out of this post-apocalyptic sci-fi film. The Earth darkens significantly, becoming lifeless as the rusted universal text settles into place. Keep your eyes peeled for another glimpse of the orbiting space station, known as the Tet in the movie. 47 Ronin, 2013. A moody, fog-shrouded version of the logo unfolds. When the text fades out, the globe remains on screen as the opening credits appear. The camera then zooms towards Japan, transporting us back to the 18th century for this action fantasy. Unfriended, 2014. The logo plays normally before suddenly breaking up. It continues glitching and warping like a corrupted video file. Just how many people watching the movie at home thought there was something wrong with their media source? Trash, 2014. A crime drama set in Rio de Janeiro. The logo pays tribute to the film's location by using city lights to draw special focus to the country. Crimson Peak, 2015. Gothic vibes from the get-go. The emblem is bathed blood red, setting the tone for Guillermo del Toro's Elegant Nightmare. Krampus, 2015. We open on a wintry logo for this Christmas horror comedy, with the universal text frosted over in jagged icicles. By the Sea, 2015. You may have forgotten that Angelina Jolie has dabbled in film directing. For this romantic drama, she not only directed but also wrote the screenplay. Co-starring Brad Pitt, the film is set in the 1960s and goes for nostalgia early, dusting off Universal's 1963 logo. Another bit of trivia: this is the only film where Jolie is credited as Angelina Jolie Pitt. Ted 2, 2015. Identical to the twist seen in the first film, with the camera zooming in on Boston. The Huntsman, Winter's War, 2016. As the universal text flies into view, gold begins to bloom across the globe, transforming it into a solid sphere. The Earth then transitions into a circular gold shape, which I think is supposed to represent the magic mirror. The Great Wall, 2016. The logo plays significantly faster than normal. Then the globe darkens but remains on screen as the Legendary Entertainment emblem appears. This was the first film for Legendary East, the company's Chinese production and distribution arm. The globe lightens into a more realistic version of the Earth, and we zoom into China. Ouija, Origin of Evil, 2016. Another retro twist with the 1963 logo. 50 Shades Darker, 2017. A burst of white light washes out the logo for this second installment in the sultry film series. American Made, 2017. Another time warp. What begins as the contemporary logo transforms into the 1963 emblem. With a sudden blast of a fifth of Beethoven, we're thrown headfirst into yesteryear, as a montage of iconic shots circa the 1970s and 80s unfolds, Happy Death Day, 2017. The time warps continue as we get a few seconds into the emblem before it suddenly flashes and starts again. The loop repeats one more time, a clever reflection of the movie's twisted Groundhog Day premise. The Mummy, 2017. This one's become a legend for all the wrong reasons. After the standard Universal logo finishes, the camera zooms in past the Universal lettering as the Earth plunges into darkness. The globe becomes the backdrop for a new title, Dark Universe, an ominous twin to the normal emblem, scored by the great Danny Elfman. Presumably this variant would have appeared in all future MonsterVerse movies. But the Mummy's critical and commercial failure turned this ambitious project to dust. Plans to expand the Dark Universe were swiftly abandoned. A fascinating glimpse into what might have been. Pacific Rim Uprising, 2018. The logo unfolds as an impressive, highly detailed hologram, possibly more memorable than the kaiju sequel itself. The House with a Clock in its Walls, 2018. The 1963 logo plays out in reverse. Also notice the globe is spinning in the opposite direction, just like the emblem used in E.T. Mortal Engines, 2018. Purple explosions erupt across the continents, leaving the planet decimated as the universal text takes on a scorched metal look. Eagle-eyed viewers will notice rivers of lava crisscrossing the Earth. Happy Death Day to You, 2019. In the spirit of the movie's broken timeline, the emblem splits into 2, then 3 windows, each one playing the logo in unison. The windows then collapse and form a unified globe. 1917, 2019. The logo has a cold blue tint, setting a solemn tone for this single-shot war epic directed by Sam Mendes. Apollo 11, 2019. A documentary that captures the grandeur of humanity's first steps on the moon would obviously choose to open with the classic 1963 logo. But this was seen only in international prints, as US distribution was handled by independent film company Neon rather than Universal. The Lighthouse, 2019. The 2012 print emblem replaces the traditional logo, which adds to the film's stark atmosphere, but I feel it's just a bit too mundane. Another example of a logo seen only in international prints. The Turning, 2020. The logo flies by at a much faster speed than normal, possibly a stylistic choice to add a disorienting effect to this modern gothic horror. Freaky, 2020. The emblem glows with ominous shades of red, orange, and pink. Candyman, 2021. An excellent intro that pays homage to the curse of Candyman, who's summoned through reflections. The universal emblem is mirrored, everything appearing backwards while Sammy Davis Jr.'s The Candyman plays over the logo. An eerily upbeat music choice to start off this horror sequel. Sadly, this variant was seen only in international prints. No Time to Die, 2021. The globe shifts from gray to white against a stark black sky, morphing into the iconic James Bond gun barrel as the movie kicks off. Once again, the US version skips this brilliant intro entirely. F9, The Fast Saga, 2021. The 1990 Universal logo makes a welcome return, although the beautiful James Horner fanfare has been swapped out for the still great 1997 theme, doubling the nostalgia factor. It's a smooth setup for the film's opening flashback to 1989, showing us the death of Dom Toretto's father. Ambulance, 2022. Red and blue siren lights briefly illuminate a 3D version of the 2021 print logo. It's followed by other logos styled the same way, until the standard Universal intro plays under the movie's opening score. The Northman, 2022. The 2012 print emblem reappears. The Fabelmans, 2022. Spielberg's semi-autobiographical film opens with a graceful fusion. The Universal logo plays as usual until the iconic Amblin moon drifts into frame, with Elliot and E.T. silhouetted in mid-flight. The moon settles into orbit above the Universal globe, creating a seamless blend of two cinematic legacies. Tar, 2022. Chalk up another appearance for the 63 emblem. The Black Phone, 2022. An understated gray tint gives the logo a slightly more ethereal look. Five Nights at Freddy's, 2023. The logo glitches just enough to let us know something isn't quite right. Welcome to Freddy's. Knock at the Cabin, 2023. More retro vibes with the 63 logo. The Holdovers, 2023. The retro vibes continue with another blast from the past. Piece by Piece, 2024. The emblem gets an incredible brick-by-brick makeover, lovingly rebuilt in full Lego form, including the space background. Another example where the logo variant was seen only in international prints. Twisters, 2024. Keep your eyes on North America, where you'll see distinct flashes of lightning, a subtle atmospheric hint at the storm about to come. Wicked, 2024. A spellbinding homage. The classic 1937 logo is reborn, starting in black and white before shifting into a soft green glow with copper-toned text encircling the beautiful globe. Nosferatu, 2024. The 1913 logo rises from the crypt, the only addition being a modern Comcast byline beneath the eerie antique lettering. It's the earliest logo in the studio's history, and the last one in this video. A fitting resurrection, and a nice way to end where it all began. Well, there we are. So much cinematic imagination expressed through mere seconds of screen time. These customized logos are miniature works of art, illustrating all the ways the Universal emblem has been ingeniously reshaped and reimagined to fit the story ahead. Are there any movies I missed? Let me know in the comments. And please share your thoughts on which intro you think put the most inventive spin on the Universal logo. I'm Michael Cahill. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like and subscribe. There are even more trips into the Logoverse ahead. Until next time.